Welcome to a new chilled out series of Sunday Morning Live. Good morning, I'm Sian Williams. On today's programme, yoga is tying itself up in knots over whether it's losing its soul. As the UN celebrates its first International Day of Yoga, Jim's been like that for hours, is the popularity of this ancient practice overshadowing its spiritual roots? Time to meet our first guest this morning. Jay Lakhani is the director of the Hindu Academy of Britain.
Let me redefine yoga, because most people think yoga means physical exercises and postures. Now, it's a prerequisite for making progress in any field, including spirituality, that your physical well-being must be looked after. That's perfect. But the deeper vision, if you like, the real definition of yoga is quite interesting. It says, harness nature external, means the physical body, harness nature internal. This part we forget, because the mind is in a turmoil. We only find this out when we close our eyes, to try and hold the mind still for a moment. It doesn't do that. We suddenly discover we are in a mess. So yoga is harnessing nature external, harnessing nature internal to reveal the divinity which is already within. You don't need to conjure it up. You don't need to invent it.
But is that part of the Hindu faith? Is it inextricably linked with Hinduism?
Yes, in fact, this is how yoga is defined. This is one of the most ancient philosophies India produced. It started with the Sankhya Darshan and then it progressed to the Yoga Darshan, which says, really speaking, there's something much more to us than meets the eye. We are more than material beings, and only through tremendous introspection can we rediscover our essential identity, not as the body, the mind, or the intellect, but the spirit that lights all of us up. And relinking ourselves with the spirit is the idea of yoga, joining up with our real nature, giving us true this is dignity Hinduism style, spiritual humanism. You are more than matter, Mr. Dawkins. You are much more. You are the spirit. The Indic tradition, that means Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism, talk about religion not as a belief system that you believe and you die and things will be sorted out. They believe in experiential religion. If yoga is for real, if you are the spirit, if there's something called the spirit of religion, you must come face to face with it. You must be first an encounter.
So you can't divide yoga into postural, which it seems a lot of, I mean, obviously a lot of people who are doing it in the Western society are doing it because of the spiritual reasons. But some of them are doing it to get better bodies.
Surely, in fact, it's human nature. You see, we need to kind of
I think
the
it's
body.
a preparatory. It can.
In fact, it is prerequisite. Raj Yoga means the spiritual aspect of yoga requires that your physical being should be looked after. The Hindus are claiming, this is a very powerful claim, that every prophet, every mystic encountered the spiritual experience. It was transcendent, no words to describe. And yet they had to interpret their own experience. So they came up with different interpretation about their own spiritual transcendent experience. One said, I see Father in heaven. Other said, I see burning bush. Other said, I'm just enlightened. Essentially what the Hindus are claiming, that all of them, knowingly or unknowingly, were successfully in the spiritual aspect of Raj Yoga. And when they try to give expression to this marvelous, life-transforming experience, it turned into different religions.
I feel that, I mean, the debate within our society, and it's a wonderful debate, is that I think we need, rather than having these enclosed, walled religions, we all need to be more generous.
Sure.
And say, actually, what can I learn from you? You can teach me something that I did not spiritually understand before. And what gives me great hope in our society is that we're tentatively moving towards that. The walls, the kind of doctrinal walls that surrounded religions are slowly being dismantled.
Indeed.
And we're saying, please, my brother, my sister, teach me.
You see, whenever you find anybody who is sincere in spirituality, in any field, in any religion, you immediately feel affinity for that person.
Absolutely.
It is natural.
And they embrace all religions. Tommy,
Yes.
what are people saying?
That's right, they're agreeing with Jay actually. They're saying that it's quite complex. Meducha is saying yoga is a legacy treasure from ancient civilizations. The problem arises when we try to translate its complexities. There's so much more to it. Another tweet here from DJ TH Production says, all those things we do like yoga and Tai Chi are based on fighting practices. So is this really peaceful and spiritual? We can find out from the panel in just a moment. But Phil says, yoga puts you in contact with your soul, which in turn is resident in the spirit world.
Thank you. Shaking your head there, Jim. When you
Well, no, I don't think it's
fighting
well, no, it's not fair to say. I mean, I did mention about the fighting elephants, but the origins of the yoga practices in India have nothing to do with fighting.
I think
Ahimsa is one of the main key features before you even practice yoga. There are serious prerequisites before you sit down to meditate. One of them, as you mentioned earlier, is contentment. You see, the modern world needs that. The other is being stick stickler for truth. It's not easy as we think because we are very diplomatic and we kind of round up.
I think there is a muddle there over this is exactly what I mean by saying we need to be better informed. If we know the history of yoga, if we know the history of Tai Chi and other things, you will understand how these things got modulated.
But also we must stop trying to convert each other.
I love that.
I believe in dialogue, and what I mean by dialogue is freedom.
Yes, very briefly.
One of my mentors, Swami Vivekananda, said something very interesting. He said, when you ask somebody to convert, it's a serious mistake because it's like asking a river that has come down one side of the mountain to go back up the mountain and come down on the other side.
You may not say convert, but you can say come and see.
In the name of religion.
Come and
That's my
see.
view.
Come and see.
Come and
That's a very good point. Thank you very much.